5 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Have you ever gone up in the Statue of Liberty? It's a little spiral staircase, and it gets tinier and tinier as you get to the top, and there's really nothing there other than the staircase. I did this once on the 4th of July, which means it was so crowded, and I was behind a lady who had vertigo. And as we get to the top, she announces, "Oh my gosh, I have vertigo. I hope I don't pass out." And I'm thinking, well, me too, because I'm right behind you. You're going to fall right on me. There was another incident in New York. This is the old World Trade Center. The windows in the old World Trade Center, I haven't been to the new one, but the windows used to go straight to the floor. Have you been? Were you there? Mm-hmm. And if you stood there, even I don't think I have vertigo, but you could stand there and go, holy cow, this is dizzying, right? Some of these things. So we're going to learn a little bit about being dizzy and about vertigo. In the studio, Leah Caruso is here from Strive Rehabilitation. Barbara Dawson is here from Strive. And Barbara and Leah have invited Dr. Lisa Chapman to talk to us about dizziness and vertigo and all those things. So good morning, all ladies. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
You and Robin had a vertigo incident, too.
Really?
Yeah. What was your incident? It was isolated. It wasn't long-lived, right?
Yeah, it was about 3 days, and I just woke up, and it was just, everything was woozy and all that, and it finally worked itself out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So what is it? What is it? So good morning. First of all, what is vertigo, actually?
Well, actually, a lot of people get vertigo confused with dizziness. Vertigo is when the room is spinning. So if you're just dizzy, you just feel off balance. You feel, again, it might be that issue with the World Trade Center, where you're going ahead and looking over that and you're like, oh God, I feel like this is coming up at me. That's not vertigo. Vertigo is...
that's not? Okay.
No. Vertigo is literally where you're standing, like you're sitting right where we are right now, or you're standing somewhere and things just start to spin around you.
When a person is diagnosed with vertigo, is it something they carry with them their whole life?
Not necessarily, because there's a number of different reasons that they could possibly have vertigo.
Okay.
Vertigo, again, we go back to vertigo and dizziness. In dizziness, you can become dizzy due to multiple things, medications, an illness. In vertigo, it's usually more of a inner ear cause.
Okay.
So there is a diagnosis called BPPV, which is a benign paroxysm. I can never say that word right. That's why I call it BPPV.
Yeah, really. If you can't say it, I'm not even going to look at it.
But it's benign paroxysmal positional vertigo. And a lot of people have it. It ends up being even more prevalent in a 65-plus population, where people go ahead and change positions. Like they get up in the morning and they go, oh my God, the room was spinning around me. I was so dizzy. I fell, or I was going to fall. I had to sit back down. It made me nauseous. I thought I was going to be sick. What is caused by that is that in your inner ear, there are these little crystals. They're called otoliths. That's the medical term for it.
We're not talking about the burger, right? We're talking something else?
No, we're not talking about crystal burgers, no. But they're a little bit tinier.
I just had this visual.
Yeah.
Little tiny crystals.
They're a lot tinier than the crystal burgers. Like you'd have to eat, 1,000 million of them to actually be able to become full. But they get dislodged. What these crystals do is they send signals to your brain on where you are standing in space. Like, are you lying down? Are you standing up? Are you horizontal to the world? Are you vertical to the world? Is your head tilted forward? Is your head tilted back? They kind of move around in there. They can become dislodged.
Are they supposed to be there?
They're supposed to be there.
Oh, okay.
Those, along with little tiny hairs called cilia, are also supposed to be there, and they all have their own specific jobs. But the crystals specifically become dislodged. They can be dislodged in a fall. They just naturally become dislodged for some reason, and then your whole brain gets messed up. And is sending the wrong signals. So you don't know whether you're lying down, whether you're standing up, and that makes you nauseous.
And there's something you can do for that person?
Yes, it is. We can actually test for it. It's a quick, easy, simple test that we do called the Hallpike or Dix-Hallpike test. And we can tell there's...
I like the name.
Don't
Sorry,
you like
Leah.
it? In physical...
I couldn't help it. I had to look
has
at Leah.
visions.
I said, well, that's the name. What am I going to do?
Okay. and you've totally blown my train of thought, by the way.
You? What about me?
It's going elsewhere.
What's it called again?
But yeah, it's a test. It's a test that you do for it. And what it does is that you within your inner ear, you have these things called 3 semicircular canals. One is anterior, one is posterior, one is lateral. Those crystals can get into those canals where they're not supposed to be.
Oh, okay.
And when it gets into those canals, those have specific reasons or specific jobs that they have to do in showing where you are in space, where your mind perceives that you are in space. Lying down, standing up, horizontal, vertical, rotating, all those kind of things.
How about astronauts? Do they get vertigo? They're up in space. They're all over the place.
If that gets dislodged,
No
they are.
gravity.
It has nothing to do with gravity. So gravity does not affect it whatsoever. It's more of a neurological thing connected to your
Oh.
brain. Yeah,
Oh,
physiological and neurological.
Even though there are two definitions, both dizziness and vertigo cause people to fall, right?
Exactly.
Okay, and that's part of why you're here today, too, to talk about that, right?
Right.
Okay.
But just to finish up on those, we can tell you where you're doing, which canal it is by the test that we do, and then we can do different maneuvers to help correct that and move those little crystals out of those canals and back into your inner ear. And most of the time, it only takes about 2 or 3 sessions.
How do you do it? What's the maneuver?
I'm afraid to tell you that. No.
Wife's having fun.
No, it's not as nice a name as the other one. The main one we do is the Epley maneuver.
The Epley? I mean, are you
Epley.
turning your head? Is it?
You are turning your head. We actually bring you down onto the table on your back quickly. We hold you in one
Quickly.
position, then we turn your head so that crystal will roll out of those canals and back where it needs to be, and based upon
Really?
yeah, and then we go ahead and keep you turned like that, and then sit you back up.
I'm stuck on the word quickly. So what,
It is quick.
you mean you're sitting and then you go, you just lay down? Just lay down?
The old way of doing it was that you had to do it that fast. They have now found out through new research that you don't have to do it that quickly.
Is it okay? And I'm going to be silly, but I don't mean to be. Is it like that little game with the little balls?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yep, that would be
So that's what
perfect.
you're doing. You're moving the.
We're moving the little crystals around.
Yes. That was good.
God, I think I'm turning red.
That was a good moment. No, you're looking cute, actually, I think.
Now, the first time I had this was like 3 years ago.
Okay.
And then I didn't know what was going on. I lay on the couch, everything was spinning. I'd get up, I'd want to be ill. So then I went to the emergency room and they gave me some pills to
Meclizine.
take care of that. And then I was better after that. And then it was good for a few years. And then a couple months ago, I had the same thing. So I just kind of waited it out and it sort of fixed itself. So is that different than the crystals?
It could possibly be different than the crystals. There's a variety of different diagnoses. On a personal note, my husband has Meniere's disease, which is very difficult to diagnose. What that is actually is an overexcitement of the vestibular nerve. You get an excessive amount of buildup of fluid, which is naturally within your ears. It's a lymphatic fluid, which your body uses to nourish your inner ear.
Oh.
And if it gets in there and it gets too built up, you start to get some ringing in your ears, you start to get some deafness. That vestibular nerves becomes overexcited, and that nerve is sending signals back to your brain. And again, your brain is getting the wrong information, and you end up with these dizzy episodes all the time.
Oh, my.
Yeah, more dizziness than vertigo in that respect. There is a lot of other diagnoses. I don't think we have a full enough time to go through all of them.
You know what's amazing is how many specialists you have at Strive. I was just thinking about, oh my gosh, there's so many different things. You bring in so many different people with specific information, right? It's just
Correct.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
So all day long, you're working with dizzy people all day long?
I don't want to make my coworkers mad. So I'm going to refrain from answering that. No, really. The people that I work with are not dizzy.
Why do you mean your coworkers?
Experienced vertigo, and it came when I was laying in bed, and I went to turn my head onto the pillow, and it felt like I was going to fall right off the bed.
Oh,
and I
my.
did go to see therapy,
Really?
and in one treatment, it helped correct the problem I was having. So mine probably was directly
Yours
crystals.
was BPPV.
Did you have to
Yes,
lay down
yours
really
was.
fast?
Yes, and
did?
at that time, it's like doing a dip.
Were you surprised? Did they push
Wow.
you?
Oh, no, they give you a forewarning, so you're not...
Yeah, we give you a forewarning, and it can make you nauseated at the time that you do that. So we always have to be very careful of
because
that.
vertigo does make you nauseous,
Yes,
too.
yeah, that is one of definitely the strong symptoms of vertigo is that you're nauseated by the whole thing. Other things can cause dizziness, though. Medication can cause dizziness. Low blood pressure can cause dizziness. I've had patients that have come in for orthopedic reasons,
Really?
back pain, and they've walked into the clinic and they're like wanting to hold on to the walls, and I'm holding on to them, and they're very dizzy, and I take their blood pressure, and we find out that it is like, I had a patient, it was 76 over 70.
For blood pressure.
For blood pressure.
Oh, my God.
Which is, 120 over 80 is a normal blood pressure, okay? And, there's a little bit lower is not a problem with that, but 76 is way too low.
Still are.
Yeah, and that'll cause you to be extremely dizzy. We did not treat her that day for her orthopedic condition or anything else. We actually sent her to the emergency room, so that she could get the appropriate treatment. But medications can do that. Some other illnesses that you might have had can go ahead and do that. Her, actually, with the low blood pressure, it was her medication that had caused that, and she had recently been taking off of that medication, but her body was still adjusting to it. So we
my.
have to go through a whole evaluation to find out exactly what is causing your dizziness. People sometimes get dizzy when they move their heads very quickly. Okay, people sometimes get dizzy when they're in a crowded place and they don't know where to focus, or cars are moving by them, and we have special
Oh,
treatments.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what's weird? We did a broadcast one time from Disney World. Not to be confused with Disney World, but we went to Disney World.
Disney World.
And Joe, and we went, one of the rides that they wanted to show us these rides so we could talk about them, okay, which was cool. We got straight to the front, right? And so the one that was an actual roller coaster or whatever, Robin and I had a hard time with. What was it called? Aerosmith or something?
Yeah, the
oh,
Aerosmith.
my gosh.
That was really bad.
That was
I've
horrible.
been on that ride. I love that ride.
You love that ride?
Oh, I do.
that
I
ride.
love
handle
it.
that.
Well, we used to have these magnetic badges. We don't have them anymore. They're in that ride somewhere. They fell off. Okay, so and Robin got really sick. I got a little sick, but Joe could handle it perfectly. Meanwhile, the simulated ones, the ones where you're not like Star Tours, you know what I'm talking about? Or this new one, Ride Through New York City with Jimmy Fallon. Okay, they're not real roller coasters. I can handle them perfectly. Joe can't handle them. He gets sick. So it's like, or gets dizzy.
That's actually due to your healthiness of your vestibular system.
So
That
who has a
inner
healthy one, me or
ear-
Joe? I want to know.
It's different things that are going on. I'm like Joe. Actually, I would say Joe is healthy because I can handle the Aerosmith, but I cannot handle those simulators.
So I have the unhealthy vestibular?
You're really unhealthy. No, I'm
Unhealthy
But actually, riding in a car, if you get car sick, that is an issue of something going on with your vestibular system.
Really?
Even if you're sitting on the passenger side?
Even
I
if
can't
you're sitting
handle
on
that.
I can't handle that either. If you're reading,
Or in the back
sitting
seat.
on the passenger or the
Right.
back seat, I can drive a car. I don't have any issue. I can, depending upon who's driving, I can sit on the passenger side and be okay.
Who drove here today?
I was fine. I was actually fine with her driving. But I've had issues. My brother-in-law, I can't drive with my brother-in-law. Please don't hear this. Thank you. But Yeah, that is a form of something going with your vestibular system, and we can test for that, and then we can do specific exercises to help strengthen that. There are 3 different systems that you actually use in order to maintain your balance. Okay, we've been talking about inner ear, vestibular.
Right.
In addition to that, there's what's called your somatosensory symptoms or system. That is the feeling that you get from your feet on the surface that you're standing on, okay, or you're sitting. We resting our arms on chairs or sitting we're getting that feedback.
Yeah.
So that our brain knows where we're at. If you have something like neuropathy, where you can't really feel it in your feet, or you're getting pain and that's interfering in your feet, that goes ahead and throws off your balance, okay? Because that takes away that part of your 3 systems used to maintain balance. Your second one is your vision. People are very visually oriented, okay? And a lot of times are very visually oriented in balance. We all are looking to see, are we on a flat surface? Are we walking on a rocky surface? Are we going uphill, downhill? And then those signals are being sent to our brain, who's the master computer, putting that all together.
That's what I call my brain, by the way.
The master computer,
The
yeah.
master
It is. It's like a big CPU up there, and it is telling the rest of your body what you need to do to adjust so that you don't fall over.
Now, when people are experiencing this dizziness and everything, you want to try to stand up and shake it off and everything, but that's when falls happen. So what kind of advice do you give to people not to do that so they can protect themselves from falling and possibly breaking something?
If you're sitting on the edge of the bed and you've just come up, like gotten up in the morning, because a lot of times it happens then, sit there for a while until it goes away, because it can go away. Ask for help. One of the biggest things that you can do is actually prepare your house so that you've eliminated some falls risks. Don't have a lot of clutter in your house. Make sure that you're in something well lit. You have good lighting around you. A lot of people get up and go to the bathroom in the dark, looking for the bathroom. Don't be tripping over your shoes, your clothing, anything else that you might have hanging around, cords that might be running across the way. Throw rugs are a big thing. A lot of people have throw rugs that might be down in their bathrooms, and they get their foot caught in it, and they end up tripping on that. If it's well lit, you can actually sit for a second and fixate on an object. Fixate on something on your wall. And a lot of times that will help to bring it under control at the time.
And then we should see you after that.
And then come and see us, yeah. Call your doctor. You need to go ahead and give your call to your doctor, but also you give a call to us so that we can help you out.
Nice.
Robin got dizzy one time. We took one of those Discovery flights, and so Robin was taking pictures in the back seat, one of those little planes, those 4-seaters. And boy, she got sick, right? And, and the guy who was flying the plane said it's because you had the camera to your eye. If you were just sitting there looking out the window, you wouldn't have got sick. But the camera kind of does something to you, right?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I used to live up in Pennsylvania, and we just talked about these 3 systems, and I used to fly a lot of little prop job commuter planes.
You're a pilot?
Oh, no.
Oh,
God.
Okay.
You don't want me to be a pilot. That would be a scary thing. But I used to be a passenger on these little small prop job planes.
Oh, okay.
That would take me from central Pennsylvania down to the major airports in Philadelphia or Pittsburgh. And if I hit a lot of turbulence, I could not sit in the back of the plane. 2, if I hit a lot of turbulence, it would make me very nauseous. What I would end up doing is actually bringing my feet up and putting them on the front seat. So I was usually using my somatosensory system.
Didn't that bother the pilot?
Well, I wasn't behind the pilot.
Oh, okay.
Might have bothered the passenger sitting in front of me, but I think they would prefer that as opposed to something else that I might have done at that point. So I put my feet on the chair, and then I could focus where my feet were. It actually helped me to visualize and feel where my body was in space. And then I wouldn't get nauseous from the whole thing.
That's interesting. That is so fascinating.
We are interesting, aren't we? I mean,
I
people
think
are interesting.
so.
And sometimes it must be psychological, I'm guessing. Did you see this video of this cat staring at this what do you call it, optical illusion? Have you seen this video of this cat? No,
No.
no, you haven't seen this? All right, you know how you used to look into the still pictures, it's black and white, and it's all lines. And if you look at it, it looks like it's moving, but it's not moving, right?
Right.
Well, there was a video of this cat looking at one of these things, and the cat's going, trying to stop it. So it's got to be psychological in some way, right? I mean, if there's nothing moving and it looks like something's moving and it's making you dizzy.
Okay. That is actually part of your vision system.
To enable us to be able to see like the magic eye pictures, you know.
The magic eye pictures, and actually before movies were digital, when movies were made, they were actually frame by frame originally. When they were shot on film,
Right.
It was almost like you take one of those toys for kids where each of the pages
Yeah.
You can flip the book.
and you flip the books,
Right.
kind of. Actually,
They don't
that's
do
what
that anymore?
They don't. Well, it's all digital now, so they don't do that anymore. You know that.
I thought that I knew the film was frame by frame, but I thought digital was also frame by frame.
I don't think it's frame by frame anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
But does it affect the way we like, for
It
example?
is. It's called persistence of vision. It allowed you at that point to see it as one thing running together because your vision was focused at what was before and what was after, and you didn't actually see those little lines in between. So the cat, when it's looking at the lines, it's like an optical illusion to it. Even though it's not moving,
Yeah,
it's focusing
yeah.
on, but it looks like it's moving to the cat.
Oh,
And
I got to
it's-
find that video and show you.
Yeah, you got to find that. Yeah, you got to send that to us. I want to see that.
Can not enough sleep cause a person to do that? Cause those crystals to be dislodged and everything?
That I'm not absolutely sure about. Otherwise, I think I'd be dizzy all the time.
Oh, okay. Well, when you're talking about the different systems and then you help the people, is this going to be something that's recurring and they have to pay attention to it, or once you fix it, it'll be fixed?
Even with BPPV, once you get it, there is a higher occurrence that you will get it back as opposed to somebody who has never had it.
Oh.
So when we go ahead and fix it, we do also check a lot of other things. Like we actually check your static balance, like can you stand in one place, can you stand on one leg? We check your dynamic balance. Can you go ahead and stand and walk and reach and still maintain your, and not fall over? How are you doing on surfaces that aren't firm, that are soft? How do you do with your eyes closed? Are you able to, all these things.
Oh, I learned this the other day. My electricity was out. And I took a shower in the dark. And drying myself, I thought I was going to fall. I had to hold on to the wall. Yeah.
For sure.
I am not lying, yeah.
You are a very visual person.
Wow.
I know I am.
Yeah. You rely a lot on your visual system.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I know.
And physical therapy can help people to increase the strength of the other systems, increase the muscle memory of being put in challenging situations, not just walking on a flat surface, but challenging situations of an uneven surface, stepping over things, quick turns, moving around things, so that when you get out into the real world, it's almost like you're a tennis player who's been trained. A tennis player, Serena Williams, doesn't think about the mechanics of what she needs to do with every part of her body to make that tennis shot or to make that, she has done it so many times.
Yeah.
She just does it. And that's because in her brain, it's she's been trained to do that in her brain.
Wow, an important topic. If we've piqued your interest, struck a nerve, or whatever we say, if you know somebody who's dizzy, has vertigo, maybe risk of falling, you might want to talk to your doctor, and then they would call you guys, right, over at Strive. And what's the procedure there? Do they go through the doctor to get to you, or do they go to you directly?
They can do both, and it's all based on your insurance, but definitely if you have a question or you need some help, we do free consultations as well at any of our locations, but the main number they can call is 351-8883, and they can ask for a consult or they can just schedule an appointment.
Right. And we do have 3 different clinics. So we have one that's on 200, our West Marion clinic. We have another clinic on Mary Camp Road, and our third one down in Bellevue.
All right.
On Abshire Boulevard.
Dr. Lisa Chapman, thank you for coming in today. That was fun.
Thank you.
And you're
It
fun.
was fun. No, you were too.
You're
Thank
fun.
you.
Barbara
Appreciate
Dawson,
it.
good to see you again. Thank you for coming in. Leah Caruso, love you. We will be right back.
We all know the importance of good health, but we may not know